Because once you know what the IDF has been accused of, once you know who these people are, the outrage that's shown to this artist for getting people to chant death to the IDF will sound so infantile. Like, the Zionists, they are confused that we don't like their Jewish military death squads. Is that? Are they really upset that we're not a fan of their death squad? I want to get your thoughts on this. Whether I don't know if I'm being too optimistic, but I'm seeing a public backlash against the Zionist regime, the likes I've never seen before. We're seeing like these viral videos, like on TikTok and on all these social media, Instagram, or all these Gen Z people. I covered Israel Palestine for a very long time. Now I'm seeing these videos, people talking about the Nakba. Like, hey, guys, you know what the Nakba is? And they get like 500,000 likes. I've never seen anything like this in my life. And now you have this story. I want to loop this question in with this story, and you can respond to this as well. This story here is shocking the consciousness of the world. Stuff that we already knew, but the fact that the IDF, they starved the Palestinian people, and now they're shooting and killing, and probably one of the most heinous war crimes recorded in modern history, to starve a population only to shoot and kill them as they are desperately trying to receive aid. So the combination of the stories like these is waking the populace up. So do you see the same thing, Dr. CBS? And how do you think the left wing should try to take advantage of this moment of mass awakening? Once again, thank you for joining us once again, my friend.
Of course. I'm ambivalent about this. I do think in a general sense, like the win is the one win that especially the US left has been able to contribute to is changing the discourse or changing the narrative around Israel and Zionism. That it's sort of been, not only are people having information about what has been going on for decades in occupied Palestine, in Gaza and the West Bank, but there's also sort of pushback to it and people understanding this as apartheid, as settler colonialism, as ethnic cleansing. And so I do see sort of more consciousness about that. At the same time, I feel like there's also competing discourses where, especially our folks, right, our people, it's like, that has nothing to do with Black people. Arabs are racist. Arabs are anti-Black. So I'm also hearing that as well. Like, I'm also seeing sort of a pushback against that as well. And the other thing too is I think that we often go through these periods of consciousness raising. Is it hard to hear me? Okay, somebody is saying this is bugging. Is it hard to hear? Am I bugging?
I can hear you. The audio is a little bit muffled, but I can hear you.
Okay, here, let me just try to take.
Yeah, I know some people say it's a little bit buggy. I can hear you, but the audio is just a little bit muffled.
Let me see. Is it better? I don't know. Is that better?
Yeah. I think it's. Try keep talking. We'll see if we can fix it.
Okay. So yeah.
I got a bit of echo now, though.
You got echo now. Okay. I think it's my.
Try to refresh the studio as well. That can help sometimes.
Okay, refresh the studio. All right.
Yeah. I actually do that. I want to talk about this story. Obviously, there's been all these insane work on. I'll bring you back in here. Here you go, Dr. CBS.
Yeah. Okay. So is that better?
Yeah, it sounds much better now. Sometimes you just got to refresh.
Okay, and I took my headphones off. So. Sorry if you can hear my fan, but what I was saying.
Let us know, Chat. I think it sounds much better now. Let us know, Chat. Yeah, I think they say. Yeah, I think it's much better now. Yeah, go ahead, Dr. CBS.
Perfect. I had on those AirPod Maxes. I don't know if. Anyway, so what I'm saying is that, like, so I think that there is that raising consciousness, but we often have these. So there's a raising consciousness around 2020 with mostly white folks, white liberals, all of a sudden being conscious that racism is here, right? That, oh, there is racism. Oh, the pigs do murder people with impunity, that type of thing. So we've seen this before, and unless that consciousness is channeled into organizing, not mobilization, but organization, that is how you sustain consciousness, you sustain
sort of fight back in a particular analysis of the world through organizing, because mobilization, the mobilizations come and go. Like these periods of clarity and illumination come and go. And so to me, I don't know as of yet that I've seen it translate into organizing or to more people joining organizations and that type of thing. And so to me, that is what time will tell. And then the other thing too is part of, you know, a lot of people are pointing out how various like celebrities or famous people are speaking out about Palestine. That cannot be our measure. That's actually a measure of nothing, because the celebrity class is notoriously fickle. Unless they're redistributing resources, I don't give a fuck what they have to say, because I go to my celebrities for entertainment, not for politics. For their own consciousness and for their own sort of ethics, they should be pro-Palestine. But in terms of what celebrities say as a measure for anything, I'm not convinced by that.
Yeah, that very grounded take, and I've seen the same thing you've seen as well with these FBA ADOS people who more than happy to do with the bidding of white supremacy, because they always dare to dive head first to divide Black and brown people who have a shared vision and share a goal. And time will tell. Like we will get the receipts. But I will just say this: they move the way that feds will want them to move. I'm not saying they're feds. I'm just saying that they use all the CIA approved tactics. And I have had enough with these people with ADOS and FBA. I've been very vocal in calling these people out. And you guys see they avoid me. I'll ratio many of these people because their incoherent ideology hasn't even done anything to get us close to the reparations. They have no, and I've been asking them. I'm in very good faith. Like, what is your strategy to get reparations? Their strategy to get reparations is to hopefully convince white people to support reparations because they see them attack immigrants. So if the white people see them attack immigrants, then maybe they will support reparations. Like, it's completely incoherent. And I know exactly what you're talking about. Those kind of people make it very depressing to see that these divisive tactics will work. We're like, what do you think? What do you think that is? Do you think that's legit? Because I will admit, like my instinct to call these people feds is not really fair. But to me, it's just so mind-numbingly dumb. Their position. They spend their time attacking Black immigrants, thinking that they're somehow going to get closer to reparation. I don't even understand their political goals. Like, do they plan to vote their way to get reparations? What is the overall strategy? Do you have any thoughts, Dr. CBS, about this phenomenon? I don't get it.
So are you talking about like the Black American jingoism, or
the Black people like, oh, Palestine not our business, or all the Arab people, they hate us anyway. Even though the people I met in the Free Palestine movement, they tend to be the strongest supporters of reparations and any movement for liberation. I was asking, do you want to speak more on this divide that kind of hold you back in terms of, because I see it too, but I don't understand. I don't know how legit it is. That's what I don't want to call. I do gotta be careful because I don't want to call them feds. That's not really fair. I'm just not seeing it other than this fake online activist space that is meant to create division. Does that make sense? We can also move on.
Yeah,
they just I've been begging to debate these people. I've been calling these people out. I think they just fucking ignore me now at this point. But it's very frustrating because it's kind of what you meant, right, regarding these people who try to divide issue, right? Am I getting that correct, Dr. CBS?
Well, so it's interesting. Like, the ADOS stuff reminds me of some discourse that was happening around Black studies, like in the 1990s. So my PhD is in Black studies, and so there's even a book called "Dude, Where's My Black Studies?" And basically, there was a particular critique. So Nola Brooks also talks about this book and this phenomenon in White Money, Black Power, where there was a pushback by African Americans, and I use that term as an ethnic category, not because I'm American, but so African Americans were critiquing the fact that Black studies, which is a field that came into academia through social movement, right, connected with third worldism and the anti-war movement, et cetera, et cetera. But by the 90s, many of the people who were being hired into Black studies were African, like continental African and Caribbean folks, and the people, so Black Americans, right, who have been at the center of the struggle for Black studies, we're not seeing sort of material results either with students who were being in, African American students in particular, being enrolled into higher ed and higher numbers, the faculty, et cetera, et cetera. And so this is a sort of old debate, this sort of antagonism or tension between like African Americans and other Black immigrant groups is a long-standing thing that even goes back to like the night, Garvey and the ABB and all kinds of critiques of Garvey. Like, people who are critical of Garvey were like, it's mostly these fucking West Indian peasants, basically, right? So this is a long thing. And so if it is that it's grounded in a material experience of African Americans, I can get behind it. But to your point, or I don't have those views, but I can have sympathy for it because I have sympathy for Black people, right? I don't root for everybody, sure. but I have to understand, where does this come from? But to your point, there's always this sort of government propaganda aspect. So things being implanted, certain discourses being funded, the algorithm propping up particular ideas, but maybe it's like 10 people who think this, but it's made to seem as if it's circulating more. And so I don't think it helps anybody, right? I don't think that as a Pan-Africanist, right, I do not think that any allegiance to the U.S. settler colony or the U.S. empire is beneficial to Black people. Yeah. But I do think that understanding the sort of these different resurgences of different types of conservatism is important. And there is an endogenous like anti-immigrant strain within Black political thought. So Booker T. Washington, if you read like his whole argument about Black people casting their buckets was like, y'all hiring these white immigrants, forget them. Hire us Negroes. You know us. We raised your kids. We cleaned your homes. Like, this is exactly what he's saying. And so there is a way that there is a sort of endogenous strain of that comes from like the Black community trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, basically. And so that is my errant assessment of that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And I 100%, like you said, emphasize with wanting the absolute best for African Americans or descendants of slavery. You know what I mean? The only critique I have of them is I don't understand the strategy, and that's when they have a hard time coming back at me because I will see them. They will attack these Black migrants and claim they don't care about the African American community. They can't claim I don't care about my Black people. Right. Like no one can claim they want reparations more than I do, so they can't play that card on me. So my whole thing is like, hey man, I feel you, brother, but what you're doing is setting us back. So as someone who wants success, seeing us and seeing this giant boogeyman who wronged us all, this giant cloud of white supremacy, imperialism, and capitalism. To me, I believe that success is the best revenge. You know what I mean? Instead of playing oppression Olympics, which I see a lot of these people do. Oh, who had it worse? We had it worse. Don't you know we were descendants of slaves? Don't you know we were genocide? Instead of doing this, how about we just have success? How about we take out the common enemy we have and then dance on the grave of white supremacy? And then after that, maybe we can complain who had it the worst. But to me, I just want to see mass success. And that's where my criticism at the end of the day lies. A lot of people may get mad at me, but my criticism of them lie because I want to see our people do better. And having go ahead.
Let me ask you this then. Does the Black left have a strategy? A coherent strategy, an effective strategy, a consistent strategy?
It depends what you mean by left. Yeah.
The answer, yeah. So we don't even know what the fuck the left is. At least we can specifically define what FBA and ADOS is, right? So, and again, I'm not defending them, but I'm saying like,
yes, I hear you.
We have critiques, but like as a sort of Black radical revolutionary, I can't have my ass on my shoulders because like we're not winning. We're not winning, right? We can't even stop a war intensified genocide, right? We don't, and so I think that we do need to be critical and we do need to lift up these contradictions in our community, but we have to do so with the utmost humility, with the utmost like care, because we're not consistent with our strategy. Like when it comes to like, what is it? Dual power. We've not successfully built dual power, right? We've not successfully made co-op or cooperative living inevitable or desirable for our people. Like we've not, you know what I'm saying? We've not been able to stop police brutality. So what I'm saying is having a coherent strategy is difficult, whatever the ideology is in this country. And so, and it's even more difficult for, I think, the FBA folks because of the inherent contradiction of what they're arguing. It's like, you're trying to argue out reparations on your Americanness, but it's like, you're never going to be that. Yeah. Right? You're never going to be that. Like, as my dad used to say, dress a nigga as you will, a nigga is a nigga still. And so draping yourself in the American flag is not going to help you. But I do want to lift up the way that we beat ADOS, the way that we beat FBA is to have a viable strategy.
I agree.
And until we have that, then we can just, criticize one and shit in the other and see which one fills up first.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. This is why I focus more on strategy more than anything else. Like we all agree with each other. I was on some right wing podcast and he would agree with me about healthcare, about ending police brutality. But what the left ignored for a very long time is strategy. You're 100% right. That's something that we had to nail down more than anything else because it's easy. To me, it's easy to critique the Zionist regime in the clause of imperialism, but how are we going to get rid of it? Yeah. It's easy to critique the scourge of income inequality, the racial income inequality, civil asset forfeiture. So trust me, I 100% agree. And that's why I bring those questions up because a lot of people don't even have the conversations of what the strategy we're going to use. And I'm not saying I have the answer either. I think we should be having these massive brainstorming sessions with people in the community actually care and figure out how we got best address our material issues. I see 3 super chats came in. I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna read those real quick. And then we'll get back on schedule. I just like bouncing ideas off of guests like Dr. CBS. So let me read a few super chats here when we get back on topic. We're gonna cover the death to the IDF chants. I don't know if you've seen it, but if you haven't, that's okay. I'm gonna show you guys this artist I'm learning about. You guys know I'm horrible with celebrities. We talk about celebrity. I'm like very bad with modern music. I'm still stuck in the late 90s. I'm still stuck in the early 2000s. I'm like that old head. Like, man, these fucking young kids and their rap music. I'm an old head guy. So a lot of these new music artists, I don't know. I'm learning who this dude is. What's his name? Bob Vylan? I don't know. But we gotta learn about him today because he's in a lot of trouble. But let me read the super chats real quick. Thank you for $10. The Citizen 49. The 500-year-old white empire is dying and a new world is struggling to be born. Very well said. Thank you for $10. The Citizen. We're gonna show you guys the insane free speech crackdown, the intense, the same authoritarianism, the same totalitarianism they accuse other countries of doing. They accuse China and Russia, Soviet Union of being. We're seeing it in the West because they're losing the narrative, the likes we've never seen before, which is the theme of our next segment. Like there's the whole depth to the IDF chance. This is representative of them losing the narrative and losing the will of the people with the likes we've never seen before. So they preach democracy, they preach liberalism and freedom of thought, but that's when things go on their way. Like if you're openly agreeing with the establishment, they okay with that freedom of thought. But you guys gonna see what happens when your freedom of thought questions their imperial power. Here's another super chat, Dr. CBS. I promise. That's a preview of what's coming up. We're gonna cover here soon. I promise I'm going to finish Red Scare this year. You want to plug that? Thankful for your genius. Any other works inspiring, moving you at the presence? This is a great super chat because this super chat is a great segue. You want what Black Scare, Red Scare? Do you want to promote that? Shout that out for people who don't know.
It's the book that I wrote. It's basically about the co-constitution out the way that. Let me not use my big words. The way that anti-radicalism, so the attack on radical people, anti-capitalist broadly conceived, and the attack on Black people, the historical sort of debasement, subjection, oppression of Black people, that these two phenomenon they reinforce each other. And so I focus specifically on anti-communism as like a way, as a form of anti-radicalism that like overdetermines all of the others. So that's why somebody will cause, somebody like Bernie Sanders, who is clearly a liberal, right, with social democrat characteristics, is called a communist because the main form of anti-radicalism. But that's the book. So, it is on LibGen. You could buy it or you could find it floating around on the internet.
Very base. Make sure you guys check that out. And great super chat. Great way for us to segue that in. I appreciate you, ears like fever. Thanks for another the super chat. Black Force reparations. Black Force to vote. Well said. I appreciate the early super chats, guys. I'm gonna get back to this while I was covering. I'm gonna quickly present this, so I'm gonna get re-caught up, and I want to share this in the context of this major news article, because once you know what the IDF has been accused of, once you know who these people are, the outrage that's shown to this artist for getting people to chant death to the IDF will sound so infantile. Like, the Zionists, they are confused that we don't like their Jewish military death squads. Is that? Are they really upset that we're not a fan of their death squads? Is that where they complain at? Because this is the story that just came out. I'm going to read the whole story here. It's a killing field. IDF soldiers ordered to shoot deliberately at unarmed Gazans. I hate that fucking term. Waiting for humanitarian aid. I don't know. Maybe I was just being too picky, but I told you guys I hate that term, Gazans. Why are you afraid to call them Palestinian? That's something that I hate that word so much. I probably would have been cool with it before the genocide, but I think post-genocide, we should retire that term Gazans. That's just me. But here's some more details on this, just for people who haven't been in the know. And I'm showing this for a reason. Because to me, I don't think there's anything morally wrong to saying death to Nazis, right? I understand that there's strategy. What should we or should we not say? But morally speaking, there's literally nothing fucking wrong with chanting death to the Nazis. But anyway, I'm getting too ahead of myself. This is the reason why. Just showing you guys one reason out of countless reasons why people will be shouting death to the IDF. Gaza's government media office says at least 549 Palestinians were killed by Israeli forces while trying to access humanitarian supplies. I have no words for the level of barbarity this is. So with that said, since I can't really put it in words without cussing and screaming and getting us demonetized, I'm going to let concert goers in the UK describe how we should feel about these monsters. And am I saying that right? His name, Bob Vylan. I literally don't know that much about modern artists. I'm a boomer artist. I really am. So this is the clip that got everyone. Can you imagine seeing your enemies having such a catchy slogan? The same thing with the river to the sea. They're mad because they know this shit would easily catch on, bro. That shit is a banger. That is a banger. That is a banger, but because of that, dude, Zionists are freaking the fuck out. Bob Vylan draws widespread condemnation over death to the IDF chant. You even have the United States. This is the guy who was crying to Congress about how he doesn't feel safe. Look at this. Bob Vylan's U.S. visa has been officially revoked by the State Department. So, Dr. CBS, I don't know if you've seen this before, but you've seen it now. What's your reaction to this? Like right now, this dude, the Zionists are trying to ruin his life. His children have been doxxed. Mm-hmm. He's getting massive death threats by IDF, bro. This is wild. Any reaction to this?
I mean, that's par for the course. It's probably going to get worse with respect to the censorship. We already have, so there's already was a bill or is a bill in Congress that makes it illegal to like show the faces of police officers or of ICE agents. You know, there's different state level legislation that makes it illegal to verbally assault a police officer. And so these are, I think that this form of legislation or and these different, whatever, all of this different policy that's meant to defend police and military on the one, to defend them, but to also to stifle our ability to resist. That's par for the course. And so I think that we have to be really strategic about, number one, we have to be organized so that when these attacks come, we're able to kind of defend people, and we have a strategy for what to do. Number two is like we have to be strategic about the things that we say. And this is not, I'm not saying that we should not speak out. I'm not saying that it is not justified, but what I am saying is that that's another front on which we'll have to fight. If it is that you know, we're gonna this is the way that we are choosing to sort of express our critique. So again, I think that it's a sign of the times that more and more people, because Kaylani been on that, like people been on, and maybe not saying death to IDF, but been on Free Palestine for the past few years. And I think on the one hand, it represents like consciousness that's raised. On the other hand, I also think that the backlash just has to be part of the calculation, right? It seems to me sometimes that people are very caught off guard at this response, but it's like, what do you have to, again, as I say all the time, you have to believe your own analysis. So if we say that these are beasts, if we say that these are savages, that these are barbarians, that these are dehumanized, violent people, they being Zionist imperialists, including US folks, then we have to believe that, of course, this is going to be the response. And so we have to take all of these things, I think, into account as we engage in all types of different strategies. And I'm being sort of careful or whatever with my language. But yes. So I think that's my perspective.
Yeah, no, I definitely hear you. And you guys see, I'm showing some receipts in the backlash here. Like, he even dropped from his United Talent Agency. Let's go back to us believing our analysis, right? Like, and I learned very recently that an anti-Semite is someone who is onto them. Right? Yeah. An anti-Semite is someone who is onto them. Right. Whenever you bring up something that is undeniably true about our system of this Zionist regime, they call you anti-Semite. You bring up something that's undeniably true, like Zionist Jewish people and people who are Zionists, they control Hollywood. So what was very clever for them to do, they take shit that was true, and they're like, if you say this, you're an anti-Semite. It's a great strategy, isn't it? Because I explained before, I had a viral tweet where I explained how an anti-Semite used to be someone who hated Semitic people, who hated Jewish people. That is not the modern definition of anti-Semitism now. Right. The modern definition of anti-Semitism is people who do not serve the Zionist regime, the people who don't worship the Zionist Jewish people, the people who don't go along with this. If you don't go along with this, then you're anti-Semite, then you'll be dropping your United Talent Agency. There's a reason why if RBN doesn't work out, I'm screwed, fam. Like, when I used to sell cars, like, you could see my face, my profile. I was on the Toyota website. I was on the biggest. I worked for one of the biggest car dealers in the region. I had a suit up picture. Like, if you Google my name, you will find my job. You understand? There is no way I would be able to do what I'm doing right now with calling out Zionism while selling cars. You know how many times these motherfuckers wanted to call my manager? Like, they realized I had no boss. So I'm in this unique position where I can speak out against these people, but I am unhireable. Like, it's RB or butt for me at this point, guys. I am completely, my real name is out there. I'm completely unhireable. And this is the tactic used by the Zionist mob. This is what I call capitalist authoritarianism in action. The way they weaponize capital. There's countless friends like that we had on the show, like Dr. Sabrina, for example, a friend of our network. Dr. Sabrina fired for a job because she's had the audacity to speak out against the Zionist regime. That what we were seeing in with this situation here. I know it's not new to us, but this guy is an artist. I'm sure he will be fine. I'm sure he will have people rally behind him. Yeah, but what happens if you're a school teacher and this happens to you? There's an account called Stop Anti-Semitism that literally targets like young black women going to school. Like, it's a trend where they target black women. I'm sure you've seen this account. They target young minorities often who can't defend themselves, ruin their lives. Not everyone is Bob Vylan or whatever, this dude who can fucking bounce back. This is a scourge of our society that should fire people up. But before I continue, was there anything else you want to add to the story, Dr. CBS, before I continue?
Yeah, I mean, I just think that this is what we should expect
for sure
moving forward, and so factor whatever you're engaging in, whether it's a protest, whether it's speaking out in this way, whether it's different sort of culture work that has a critique of Zionism, the IDF, Israel, what have you, calculate the backlash into what it is that any of your strategy, and have a strategy for that, because it's going to get worse before it gets better. Somebody had the Gramsci quote, right? The old is dying, the new is struggling to be born. The rest of that is like, now is the time of monsters.
Yeah.
Right. And the time of monsters, that is intense repression, right? That is sort of extraordinary violence with impunity. And so that I just think that that's something that we need to be mindful of.
Very well said. I'm gonna wrap the segment up. I have a few more things I want to share with you guys. The obvious critiques to this, because the outrage, like the BBC is covering this wall to wall. They put out an apology. We're sorry we streamed this terrorist supporting anti-Semitic rapper. Like the Trump State Department is immediately on it. You guys see how fast our government moves with the issue that they care about. Like, we're like, man, can we have modern infrastructure? Man, that's a lot of government work. I don't know if the government can actually do that, man. We're not really efficient government. But the second that someone call out the idea, you see how efficient our government moves. Anyway, I just thought that's a funny joke that I saw someone post. But it's true. The State Department is going after him. But what he did, and he's going to be sacrificed. Like, I'm terrified for this guy. I don't know that much about him, but best believe this man's career, as we know it, is over. Like, if he may be sustained by, like, I don't know, Patreon, maybe some fans might try to boost him up. But he had a tour in the United States. His tour is done. He dropped from his labor. So this guy is done. I really hope he has a strong grassroots support, because as a professional mainstream celebrity, that shit is never going to happen now. Like, there's a reason why you see Beyonce shaking her ass to the American flag. Like, she know where not to fly. She's not going to fly too close to the damn sun. This guy, he's based enough not to make those calculations. I'm very sorry to see where his career is going to be up, because they want him dead. But what he did is pretty valuable, because this story has went viral. Even though the West has been melting down at it, around the world it's been received pretty well. I'm going to share this one here soon. This is one I wanted to share. This is in Argentina, fam. Like, if you guys know anything about Argentina is easily the least based South American state. Let me just say that. But even in Argentina, they don't fuck with Zionism like that. Their ruling party does, the ruling class does, but the ordinary people, just like everyone else, they don't fuck with it. So after the death to the IDF chant, this thing is going viral all around the world, fam. Like, this is a genie in a bottle that they cannot put back in. And this is to get more optimistic about the story. Like, this is the awakening that I'm glad seeing happen. The fact that this, I gotta be careful with my words here. Like, this, people understand what the IDF is about now, and people are not apologizing seeing them fail, just for the lack of a better way to put it. So now you got people in Argentina. Let me big screen it here. They put Israel in a coffin. I think what they said. I'm gonna mute it here because I don't want to get in trouble for like music. But you guys see, there's the Israeli coffin, Palestine flags. Once again, this is in Argentina. Like, I guess maybe I should be nicer to the Argentines, because I guess they're not their fault they got fascist government. But look, this is them saying death to the IDF. So you're seeing this anti-Zionism spread worldwide, which already was mainstream. One more thing I want to share on the story, then we move on, is the obvious reason. I did this last because we know why it's bullshit. We know why it's fucking they're hypocrites, right? We know, like, the Zion, oh my God, I can't believe they're chanting violence against all Jews, all Jews. I feel like it's almost beneath us to even to to try to counter their bullshit arguments. So I'm gonna do one. And I'm gonna keep it simple. So for all the people bitching and complaining about people saying death to Nazis, death to the IDF, death to their paramilitary death troopers, you have Israelis that say death to Arabs all the time, and it is never ever covered by the mainstream media. So this is not really in English. I'm gonna just let it play for a little bit. Look, a good Jesus fucking Christ, a good Arab is a dead Arab. I'm gonna let the video play and let it speak for itself. For all the Zionist babies, like CNN is covering this, New York Times is writing op-eds. When have you ever seen our Western media cover this? Cover the extreme barbaric behavior of the modern Israeli settler. People underestimate the fact that these people was brainwashed from a time as a small child to hate Arabs, want death on Arabs, and to believe that anyone who is not Jewish deserves to either serve them or die. So, Dr. CBS, I give you final word. I just want to present the last receipts here. I give you final thoughts on this segment as a whole. Do you have any final thoughts you want to send us on? And then we'll move on. I'll pivot to our last story.
Yeah, I'll just say that, like I said, we need to believe our own analysis. A lot of people have critiques of liberalism, but what we also understand is that this idea of all of these freedoms, the freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom of assembly, these are all codified through like liberal jurisprudence, which means they can be taken away. These are not rights. They're codified as rights, but they're especially when it comes to Black people. I talk about reversibility, like all of this shit is reversible. But again, you have to understand if liberalism is amenable to fascism, but you're relying on like liberal jurisprudence to ostensibly protect yourself or protect your rights, that's a contradiction.
That's so well said. That is very well said.
Be able to say whatever they want to say. I do believe that. But should and what the reality is are two different things. And so we have to be courageous, and we also have to understand the current conjuncture and what's at stake with whatever strategy it is that we take. And this is not about being a coward. It's not about it's not about capitulating. It really is about strategy. It really is about being deeply serious about every single thing that we do against imperialism, because the state is against us, right? The state has a monopoly on violence. Like, this is a right-wing settler colony, and Great Britain is not that great, but it's also not, right? It's basically, it's a vassal state currently of the United States. So the same thing goes. I really want us to take that seriously, right? We see in every industry, people losing their jobs, people being, people having their work situations being made untenable, being made, people being dehumanized for their political beliefs. And I think that that's not nothing, right? And that's something that we need to have calculations for as we're engaging in all of these different strategies, from protesting and organizing to making public statements. So